Hey everyone, it looks like we are live. How's it going? I hope everyone is having a great holiday week. It is Saturday, kind of strange live stream time, but so I am going to be doing a lot more live streams during the week, showing more of the progress as I'm doing it. So that's going to be great. And I see we have Mr. Total Pain in the house. How's it going? Great to see you. How are you, sir? Had to get the cat out of the studio. So I'm so glad you're here. How's life in upstate New York, sir? So I'm so glad. So this is going to be interesting because I'm going to be working on some of the color buffing techniques. So you see here, I had to come in with this white and orange mixture to kind of lighten things up and assimilate the values. And now I have to go over it, I want to go over it with a darker color. So this is going to be good for you to see, John. So let's see. So the darker color, I've been really loving the Lifeline set by Tim Gore, which is part of the Bloodline, but there's a subset of that called the Lifeline. And this color in particular, olive gold, is really great for flesh because it's not too chalky or washed out, and it really does work well. And Ruth, how you doing? Great to see you. How's it going? And we have Oz. How are you from the Atlanta area? Great to see you. And Ruth is from the Arizona area, which is fantastic. And John says, oh, you caught COVID for Christmas. Oh my God. Please take it easy, my friend. That is terrible. Wow. So just make sure you take care. You'll be back in business. Oz, how's it going? Great to see you. Happy holidays. So here's the color. And it looks dark, but remember, all paints look darker in the paint tube or paint cup or even in the bottle. So it's a lot lighter. Surgery on the 2nd, so I'm just lovely. Oh man, I'm praying that it goes super well. So sorry you're going through that, my friend. Oh man. And let's see. So Mike, how's it going? Great to see you, Mike Rushing. I'm so glad you're here. How's everything? Thank you so much for your super chat. That's really amazing. I appreciate you. How's your portraits going? Because I really love your work, my friend. We're going to do this. I'm going to go 4-1. So, Mike, thank you so much for your support and your friendship. I'm so glad to see you. I hope you're having a great holiday season. And, you know, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to the live streams, for giving great comments, and also for your support. It means the world to me, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm almost settled with the move. So I have a nice little package going out to you very shortly. But right now, it's like everything is everywhere, you know. But today we're going to be going over the red grass, which I think you're going to love, Mike. You all are going to really love the wet palette that I'm going to be going over today, which is fantastic. So this is the light olive color, and I'll get the exact title for you. And so I did 4-1, so 1 part of the paint and 4 parts of the 4011. And so I think it's light olive. And this is from the Lifeline set. And it's only like $60. If you guys are going to do portraits and in color, I really can't tell you how important this is. Even if you're working in oils, I mean, this is a game changer. And I wouldn't say it if it hasn't been a game changer for me. And I've used all kinds of techniques in the past, but this set right here is really great for color underpaintings, for working in Wicked or oils or whatever. I spoke to Dennis over in Createx, and this stuff works great for underpainting for Wicked, and I tried it. It works great for underpainting for oils, no adverse side effects, because this is, how do you say, this is very, this stuff is waterproof, so you can go over it. It's not going to reactivate, which is fantastic, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Extreme Patriot 105, which is customized by myself. And we're going to go ahead and put some of this in here. So what I want to do, you see how I came in with the orange and white mixture to kind of assimilate things? So now my job is to go ahead and bring in some flesh color to that, you know, so it doesn't look blotchy. So that's the goal, right? That's the goal at hand. So I have these customized stencils, which are fantastic. And let's see. This is definitely glasses territory, guys. So we're just going to put her right here. So I'm really just worried about this area right here. And we're going to put our magnets on. And so this is really good. So Mike says taking a short break until after your birthday, which is New Year's Day. Wow, that's great, Mike. Happy pre-birthday. So you're just taking a break, just chilling out. That's good. That's good. You need that every now and then, right? You know? So, especially the holidays take a lot out of everybody. You know, that's for sure. And so here we're okay. So my key light is coming from camera left, so I can put magnets over here because the cast shadow is the camera right. So in 2024, I'm going to be doing some portrait, you know, which is really cool, portrait photography using flash. I'm going to be doing some live streams on that. I know it's a little off base, but it's something that you guys and girls could use in the future to get your own reference material. Plus, it could be a great hobby you didn't know about. I mean, if you paint portraits, you're going to love portrait photography, and I'm going to break it down so where it's totally simple, that I can do it, and if I can do it, you all can do it. Okay, there we are. Now, we always, because late last night, I cleaned my airbrushes, so you never know. I might have not tightened the chucking nut or something. So always test. Okay, so that looks good. So, all right, so let's get down to business here. All right, so right here, now, I want to start lighter. If I go 2 inches away, 1 to 2 inches away, it's going to be really intense, and it's going to be focused. And you don't want that, because then you're going to have blotchiness, and I'm going to come back in with the white and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to start about 6 inches away. Distance is the unwritten law, or the unwritten rule in airbrush. Those who know, those who don't struggle. So I'm going to make you into those who know if you're not already there. Start out 6 inches away, maybe even more. See how even that is? And the 1 second rule. Two very important. Distance and 1 second rule are going to get you far. So trust me. So those are two things I'm talking about today with you guys and girls. So let me pull up my reference here in Pure Ref. And is this her? Yes. Okay. So see how from 6 inches away, I'm just assimilating that lighter color. So you don't see the blotchiness anymore. So I'm basically dispersing those droplets of color and they're just kind of falling like light rain or mist. That's what you want. And so same here. And okay, so that looks pretty good. Now there's more things to fix. I'm in the very end of this painting. So I'm going to lift that up because I do like it. And now we're going to have to resolve what's going on with her hair. Because part of her hair is, I think it's just eclipsing her jaw. Let's see. Okay, very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. But what I want to do is I just want to eclipse this hair a little bit more past her jaw. So I'm going to do one thing which is normally not done, is I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and I put graphite on it, and I'm going to test it here and see how it looks first. So you see, if I come over here like this, see how it just eclipses her jaw just a little bit? Now, maybe I don't like it, right? I don't know. So let's see how it looks without it. So those are different things that I do before I commit. Because why commit too early? There's no reason, because you might change your mind. So now I'm just going to look for my kneaded eraser. Here we go. And I'm going to erase it. Does it make much of a difference? No. So what does that tell me? I don't need to. It's not making a big difference to me. It's just a little bit of an eclipse of there. What I can do is, let's go to our wet palette that I'll show you. Oh, this has a little band, right? And that keeps it down, keeps it airtight. And so this lifts. The thing with this is you have to keep it level, because if you don't keep it level, then all the water in the paint will kind of run on you, and you don't want that. Okay, so it lifts like this, and then this is a wet sponge. Now we can make it a little bit wetter. So in here, even though it's 4011 bottle, there's water in here. So I'm going to put a little bit of water here, just a little bit, just to wet this sponge a little bit. Because they tell you to put like 2 ounces in there, but you don't want to. That's too much. Now what they do have is this kind of rice paper, which is here. Mike's saying, taking a short break. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so no new comments just yet. Okay, so here's the paper that comes with it. And this is the barrier between this sponge, the water, and the rice paper. And you get 50 of them with it. And I believe it's like $25. This is the small version. There's larger versions, but I don't have room, right? So I have an extra paper here. And what I'm going to do is put this down. And they say when you put it down, you're going to have to kind of work it in and get rid of all the bubbles. Now I like keeping mine dry, so I have to work it in. It takes a little while longer for me to work it in. So once I work it in where it's touching the moisture, then my job is to kind of smooth this out. But this is great when you're actually at the end of the painting and you just want to do little changes. You don't want to do it with the airbrush. Now I probably can go a little bit wetter along the side here. As you can see, this is not an exact science, and I'm new to this, but you get better and better. Sometimes it takes a little while to smooth everything out. But I'm getting there. Oh, cool. So Oz is wishing Mr. Mike a happy birthday. That is so cool. Mike, how's it going? Great to see you, my friend, all the way from the from the Maryland area. How's everything? So I'm just smoothing out this bad boy here. This is looking pretty good. I'm not going to be using this part of the palette, so I just want to really get this over here. Okay, so now we are ready to go. Okay, so there we are, and we have the wet palette. And I'm going to be using the Wicked colors for this, which is great. And Oz says, wow, so 10 days. Why is it so long? Is it just like, is it a serious surgery, sir? And I'm praying for you. Surgery is not fun, my friend, and I wish you didn't have to have surgery. Mike says he got home from doing some more work on Suzanne Summers' American Graffiti Thunderbird. Can't wait to see that. Oh man, that's going to be great. So I want to work on her hair, right? So I want to just bring this hair a little bit over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one, Detail Burnt Umber. And we're just going to put a little bit right there. And it's a little bit darker, so I don't want to go in Wicked Black. Black is really, really strong, too strong. I do have a Raw Umber, which I do like. Oh, 2 fusions and nerve repair. Have praying that I will walk again. Oh man, I'm going to be praying that you walk again 100%. I will be praying hard for you, my friend. And so, you know, I am definitely going to be praying for you. So sorry. Like I said, I'm really sorry you're going through that, my friend. Good people go through bad things sometimes, and it's no fun. And so I got some new brushes, which is right here. And I need a cup of water because you don't want to leave your brushes not not rinse them out, especially using the Wicked. So hold that thought, guys. I'll be right back. And when you use a paintbrush, what happens is you're going to get a slightly different sheen than what's going on with the airbrush. But when I varnish it, all's going to be great. So that's okay. So I have this here for dry brush, right? Which is good. Hey Colette, how's it going? Great to see you. How's everything? I'm so glad you're here. As you can see, I'm using the red grass, which was recommended by Mr. Steve Leahy, and learned so much from his live streams. Now this will stay wet for like 10 hours while I'm working on it. So even if I close it, it'll stay wet to the next day. So that's cool. So I'm so glad you're here, Colette. what I'm going to do is just have her hair eclipse her chin just slightly. See that? Just slightly eclipsing her jawline. There we go. You wouldn't want to go through all that with airbrush, right? That's for sure. So how cool is it that Colette's in the house? Colette says more like infamous. No, you are famous, definitely, Colette, for all the right reasons. Okay. Now, I'm trying not to get involved in the small details, but it is the end of the painting, right? So, and I'm going to leave a little cup of 4011. Just a little dab will do me. And just put a little 4011 in there. Because you don't want to use water when you're using Wicked paint to thin it out. And so I'm using like kind of a dry brush technique. So basically I wanted to show when you think it's over, it's not over. And that's exactly what's going on with this painting. I thought it was over and I'm like, nope, can't live with that. And so I decided to make some changes. But I like the fact that, you know, it's be bold enough to say, you know what, I'm not done. And to go back in and do what you have to do. Now I want a super detailed one. This is really good. Let's see how this works. This brush. So I'm mixing some of the raw umber and burnt umber. It's an umber party. There we go. So a little more character, I think, when we go further with her eyebrows. I think we're going to go more burnt raw umber with this color. We'll put a little 4011 in there. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so now looking at this, seeing different things that we can actually work on. What I want to do is I have this other airbrush here, my Extreme Patriot. I want to go ahead and do the little corners of her mouth, the indentations at the depressa anguli oris, that muscle that brings down the frown. So I'm going to take out this airbrush. I have some India ink in here. I was working earlier in the day with a student. And let's see, Michael says, a little bit later I'll post what I did today in the painting so far. Now it's down to the details. I can't wait. I know it's coming out great. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, my friend. So we're going to just throw some water in here because it is the India ink. So this airbrush that I'm going to be doing now is the Extreme Patriot Arrow, customized by myself. The other one was the Extreme Patriot 105. I've basically been sticking with them for the past 2 weeks. and just, you know, loving it a lot. So what I want is a really light raw umber. So I'm going to take some of this color right here, and you know what's really good? Detail sepia. That's even better. For those really light areas, detail sepia is really fantastic. For those like wispy transition tones, detail sepia. Now I'm going to do 4 to 1. So I'm going to do 1 part detail sepia, 4 parts 4011. So what's 1 to 4? That's going to give me a really wispy, but I'm going to put a tiny bit of the 4050s, because if I don't, it may not adhere to the surface. So let's do that. A little bit of 4050. Like Brill Cream, a little dab will do ya. There we go. And we're going to mix this, as Mr. Bob Ross says, mix it like the Dickens. See that? It's like Nestle's Quick. You want that 4050, the 4011, and the sepia to all assimilate. And now it feels like my Airbrush India inks. It's really, really thin. But the 4050 is going to save us, because without the 4050, it will just, you know, be nothing. It will just wipe off. So here we go. Here goes nothing. And another thing, don't fill your paint up, your paint cup with the paint, because rarely you use it all. So just fill it, you know, maybe 1/3 to 1/2. Beautiful. Okay, so beautiful spray here. And what I'm going to do, let's zoom in together. So right here on the corner of her mouth, the depressor anguli oris is just coming up. So before I do that, I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to do a dry run of what I'm going to do. See that little dry run? What? Little dry run of how I'm going to spray. So I rehearsed, right? And that's what you want to do. You want to rehearse. And you see just a little tiny bit. There we go. And then we'll go on over to the other side. And there's just a little bit of a lilt right here. And it goes down a little bit. And that is so important for the expression. And then there's a little bit of a wispy shadow down the nose there. Right here on this side. Just showing the alar cartilage just a tad, which is good. And let's see, Tim, are you using carbon dating yourself? Brill Cream, definitely, right? Mickey Mantle did the commercials. That's cool. Yeah, nobody knows about Brill Cream, right? Oh, okay. So we're all pretty much the same generation, I think. That is so cool. Oh, and put a little shadow there. I'm going to deepen the shadow on this part of her philtrum. So this raw sienna, I mean not raw sienna, but the sepia, detailed sepia, is like working with an India ink, you know? And Ruth says, unfortunately, I know what it is too. That's so funny. I don't even think they sell Brill cream anymore. So I'm happy that I'm finally getting the expression correct, but I made sure that I didn't let it consume me. That the expression comes when all the pieces are there, and not a minute before. There we go. And there's a little bit of a shadow from the zygomatic bone coming down. Just like right there. Root says, oh yeah, he did. I grew up in the UK and we had it there. Maybe Brill cream is universal. Well, it was like the main thing that men used back in the day. My dad never used it, but I know it was like really big. I'm just going to bring the nose forward by just darkening it right by the edge. And I think that worked out. Just bring her nose forward. And also just this slight wispiness down the side plane of her nose. There we go. And now we'll zoom out and see if we're happy. Okay, so I'm getting happy. I'm liking the expressions and everything. Now she doesn't have much of nasal labial fold. So I'm just going to indicate just a little bit of that. I'm also going to put a little bit of the shadow of the upper lip going over the lower lip. And I may do more work in the lips there, definitely. Great. And Michael says, yeah, I had to pick up from Dad at the store. Yes, that was definitely that time period, Mike, right? It was really big. And right here, I think I'm going to come in with a little bit more. It's a little bit of a blotchiness. I know no one can see it, but I can see it. So I'm going to address that. But let me work on the translucency right in where her eye socket is. Okay, now I'm liking that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come a little bit in with the white mixture really quickly here. So I'm going to switch colors rather quickly. So I'm going to take my light olive from the Lifeline set, put it back in there. And I'm going to do a quick clean here. Probably more than a quick clean because I'm coming in with a lighter color, but having a little bit of that skin tone in the white mixture is not going to hurt me too much. Okay, so now I'm going to clean it out with the rag here. And then I'm going to do some water through it. And then we're going to come in with the orange and white mixture. I just want to smooth it out. I know I'm being a little, technical here, like, I want it perfect. But I just, once you sign it, it's over. There's nothing else to do. Let me see if there's anything. Oh, that's great. So that kind of fixed it. Just kind of doing that. So I'm happy with that. Now right here, we have a little, let me see if that kind of worked it out. Come over here. I'm actually going to see if I could erase any of this discoloration that I'm not happy with. Now remember, with that raw umber, it's super, super thin, so it should erase rather easily. Okay, so I got rid of a little higher saturation that I didn't want. So at this point, you're looking at a lot of things, and saturation is really important, so I want to make sure that my values are not oversaturated. So I'm going to come back in with the raw umber. Okay, that looks much better than it did before. It was a little too saturated there, so it was picking up some color that was underneath, so I didn't like that too much. And over here, I don't think we're oversaturated here, but just in case. So in the last episode of this on the live stream, I went in with pastel, but I did not like it. So I want to go ahead and varnish this, and so I really deduced that you can't varnish a pastel, so I got rid of all the pastel that was on there and decided to just paint her using paint. Okay, so now I'm going to come in. We're going to do some white here. We're going to, so I want to use the illustration white, the 50-50, put it here. And we're going to use some of the natural lip color. Put that there. And some natural lip. Hey, Mark W., how's it going? Great to see you. Happy holidays, my friend. So glad you're here. So that is great. So now we are going to make a light lip color, and we're going to go ahead and start painting in some of the lights in her lip. And make sure that my hand doesn't have any paint on it, because that will transfer right onto the paper, the painting. Okay, so now I want to make sure I have an extremely dry brush. So I'm just going to get rid of excess moisture. And the great thing about this wet palette is that it just stays wet for you. I'm going to make this a little bit darker. So I want some place that shows the lip turning. So I'm going to make this a little bit darker and then do the highlights on top of that. Let's see how this goes. I'd rather have the lip looking like it's a three-dimensional form than having the highlights pop. But it's all, to me, in the end, it's all about the expression. In the end, right? And Mark says, glad to be here. Just had a quadruple, bypass surgery. How are you doing? Oh man, I'm so. Are you feeling okay, Mark? And I'm so glad you came out of it. And Mike says, Tim, you have tried the India ink over the Wicked Painter illustration just today, and it worked out really well. Uh, and that was great. So we just did it today on a painting I was working on with a student, and then do Wicked on top of it, which is great. I'm coming in with this dark. Oh, I'm so glad you're doing great. And you're going to be doing great as well, Oz. Here we go. And now after this, I'm going to come in with a slightly lighter color. Oh, that's so great, Mike. Mark, I'm so glad you're doing better. Wow, Michael had one 10 years ago. Oh, I'm so glad you came out of it well too. Thank God, a lot to be grateful for. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit of a lighter color here. And then I'm going to go with that in between, the crease between the two. I'm going to go even lighter. Let me blow that up so you guys can see what I'm doing. And then when I come in, I'll soften everything up with the airbrush. I'm just going to get progressively lighter. And with this stuff, you just got to keep playing with it until you get it. Then I'll come in a little more here. That's too light. So I want to come in with that darker color. It's like right here. And now my goal is to get progressively darker right here. I got the raw umber. This goes up a little bit here. Keep that 1 second rule going and you'll be just fine. And now I have to get like a nice mid-tone color. See if we could achieve this. Okay, now we're going to try and bring in this pink. There we go. Somewhat working. And now more color towards the bottom. Bring that color up. Then just a little bit of this right here. This dry brush technique is tricky, but worth it. And a little bit of dry brush over here. And then come in with the lighter color. Kind of have to lull it into submission, you know. And let's see, Colette says, clearly I'm not the only one glad to kick off 2023 out the door. Be well, gentlemen. Michael says, now I stay alive with just, to piss people off. And Mike W says, thanks, they say it's like a normal procedure nowadays. That's great. And Michael says, that wet palette helps you out to get more detail. It sure does. I mean, it really is a wonderful thing. And it stays wet, right? So isn't that great, the fact that it stays wet? And we'll just come in and clean this up. Okay, so now I think, okay, this edge here did not work. So let's get rid of that. This edge here. Sometimes you don't know if it's going to work until you do it. And then you're like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, so now I'm set up for some cool highlights here. Just a couple. And it's really going to translate from normal distance. Let's take a look. Okay, so that's much better. I'm liking it. And then in here, we're going to, I'm going to get this olive color. Remember this light olive, which I love. So I can't find my white plastic. Oh, here it is. Love this palette knife. Okay, I'm going to take some of this. It's very thin, so it's not going to work on the palette. I'm just going to take it right out of the cup, but I'll kind of pull this over here like this. And I'm going to add some white to it. I'm just going to see if it works, because this could help us to shape this lip. One second rule's in effect. I'm just going to kind of assimilate it to the inside edge here. It's going to look super light when it's wet, so don't let that throw you. Now I feel I'm finally, throughout the whole painting, getting the shape of the lips that I was looking for. But I was patient. Right here. Nice light right there. And then right here, have a nice light. Oh, right there in the corner of her mouth. This is a beautiful light right here. Just put that there and kind of assimilate this down. And right here, which is really cool, there's this little light. Now I'm going to use light pressure, means light application, right? So you see how I'm going to accentuate her nose. I love her nose, by the way. Let's see. There we go. See, the light, the highlight has a lot of flesh color in it. Show you how she's coming together. Just a little bit like that. Now here on the lip, that dark is a little too big, too much. So we need to get rid of that a little bit. So we're going to come back in with this here. And we're just going to kill it. Oh, thank you. Oh, appreciate it. So everything is looking really good with that highlight so far. And let's see. I can make it a little bit more powerful. And Michael says, yeah, he's tried doing the large section somewhere else and then bring it home and use the wet palette for details. So true, the wet palette is amazing. 3 cheers to Mr. Steve Leahy for that. Really loving this highlight now. Just kind of getting into that highlight. And while I'm here, let's bring some more life to her. And let's see. I have this flesh color, but I'm afraid of it getting too strong. So that's my thing. I don't want it too strong. So I'm going to dip a little bit more of this. Let's show you. Dip a little bit more of this light olive color. There we go. Feeling much better now. See, these little things that, you know, you have to work on, but you have to know when to work on them, right? That's the thing. Like, know when to say when. Colette says, Tim and fellow ink flingers, happy blessed New Year. See you all later. Happy New Year. Take care, Colette. Always great to see you. Happy holidays, and I'll talk to you very soon. Mr. Willie, how are you? Great to see you, sir. What's happening, sir? How's life out there in Massachusetts? I'm so glad you're here. I'm just gonna bring that down. So now I'm feeling like it's not too broken up, and that's what I'm doing now. It's just, this is a great way to lighten up some of the broken up passages. And I may have to get a little bit lighter. Until it's completely assimilated. There we go. So that's looking good. And Willie says he's good. Hope all is well. And so that is cool. So glad you're here, sir, and you're feeling good. Just trying to assimilate that. It's not easy. But maybe I should wait for it to dry. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And maybe I can come back in. I'm going to let that dry because I want to come in with the raw umber and the sepia, and kind of get some of those passages. But I have this light here, and it's a great way for me to go ahead and work on some of the accentuated lights here. Here we go. So I'm just refining her lips, the shape of her lips, so important. Mike says, Tim, have you ever did a blonde girl? Because it seems harder to me. Yes, I have. As you can see, I prefer brunettes, but yeah, I mean the platinum blondes. It's all about condensed values. Make sure you don't let those values be too far away from each other, because with blonde hair, a lot of the values are so close, especially platinum blonde. I did one not too long ago, actually long ago, 2 years ago now, and it worked out, but doesn't mean it wasn't a challenge. So it was a challenge, definitely. Okay, so now here's an opportunity to, let's see if we can start shaping things. So right here, I'm going to take some of this olive gold. So guys and girls, if you don't have the red grass, this is the palette, this is the wet palette light. It's smaller than the one that Steve has because I don't have much room. So that's why I do it. I'll move this over to show you all. Let's see. So you see mine is right here really, and I'll see if I can move me over so you can see more of my color mixing prowess or lack thereof. Okay, and oh cool, so I'm having just some of this here, and what I want to do is accentuate the light right here, but I gotta be careful, so I'm going to use like super light pressure. Let me show you. Super light, let me get me out of the way again. You know what? There's no reason to see me at all. Let's see. Okay. So right here, even though I have a light color, if I use a super light pressure, it's going to be a darker color. See how I bring that in? It's a small, tiny detail, but it's important. A little bit right here. Okay. So that seems, oh, look at that. There's a little bit of reflected light underneath her nose. Right here, you'll see just the tiniest. Make sure there's no paint on your hands when you do this, guys and girls. See that little bit of reflected light right there? There we go. And I think that's important for, you know, the whole emotion of this scene. So right now my painting is more about storytelling, right? That's what I'm really into. So you're going to see a lot of my paintings in live stream being in storytelling mode. Because, you know, that's just where I am now. Oh, I love that. That really, that little bit of something there did a lot. See that? That really brought out our eyes. You just don't know what the tiniest little thing, detail you might miss, might just bring to the table. But this is where you're really searching those details, right? This is where you're really looking. Oh, there's these nice little highlights at the corner of her eye there. See that? Little tiny little highlights. There we go. And oh, look, she has a little pearl earring on. So let's do that. That will be fun. So we'll zoom in on that. Forgot about her little pearl earring. And let's see, Willie says, this one is saying a lot. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the emotion that can be missing from a realist painter's repertoire. So that's where I am, you know. And so I'll just zoom out for a sec. So you see how I'm mixing that with raw umber and white for the main local color. And then we're going to come right here. Yeah, I think it's a little bit lighter than that. What do you guys think? Yeah, that's more like it. And then maybe just a little bit darker on the outside here. Alright, here goes. I don't want to be too strong because I don't want it to be about the earring. But you see, it's just a little bit of details, not much to make it believable. There we go. And then we zoom out, and there's her earring, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so we're working with Wicked, right? I'm actually painting with Wicked, so we're going to clean our brushes with 4011 and water in between colors. And you don't want to leave your brush with 4011 on it, right? So make sure, just in case, if you're not using a brush, if your Wicked is not going to do good things to your brush, so if you don't clean it. And so right there, so that's where we are. And so you can see here I have some color buffering. I just went in with the red and white mixture and created intentional blue shifts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the color that I was going to use, the flesh color, and I decided against it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find that color of the hair. So you're going to get a fresh cup, and so I'm thinking raw umber. Raw umber is, I use that color so much. It's such a important color for me. So I'm going to use some raw umber and burnt oak and yellow ochre. So I'm thinking raw umber, yellow ochre, mostly yellow ochre, and then lots of 4011. So now I'm looking for yellow ochre in Wicked. Now the great thing about the Wicked line is they have all the classical colors, which is so incredible. So here's yellow ochre. So all the colors that I use as a pastel painter, as a oil painter, Wicked has them. So that really helps. And it also helps not to spill it all on the side of the cup there. Okay. Throw that in garbage. And we're going to 4011 this. Remember, I'm doing 1 part paint, 4 parts 4011. And then a little bit of the 4050 so it sticks onto the surface. And also improves flow out of the airbrush, which is really good. Okay, here we go. We'll see what this does. Now these are all transparent because my goal is to put this lighter transparent over the hair. We'll see how it goes. So you see it's kind of a greenish kind of brown, which is in the light part of her hair. Okay, let's see how this goes. Now, since it's a transparent, it's just going to lighten up those areas a little bit. It's a glaze, right? It's a actually not really a glaze because, well, yeah, this could be a little bit lighter than what I'm putting on there. I'm just looking for my top. Guys, I'm just going to use the laboratory real quick and hang with me. I'll be right back. Thanks, guys, for waiting. Sorry about that. The bathroom is one flight up, so it's a little bit further. But I hope, okay, so we have 5 people in here. So glad you're here. Thanks for hanging in. And where were we? Oh, yeah. So we put this color in this airbrush, which is a yellow ochre and raw umber mix. So let's see how this goes. Test spray. Okay, great. So it's warming up these cool passages that I was doing by doing the intentional blue shift to get the lights in her hair. So this worked out. So it just warms up these cold blue shifts that I did on purpose to get the lights in her hair. There's going to be parts of your painting, no matter what level you're at, that you're going to have to cut your losses. Meaning that to fix it is pretty much too late, right? You're going to live with the good, the bad, and the not so good of your painting. But how you handle it, I feel, is the best way, is to make sure that your next painting is about avoiding that. So I think that's a good thing. So that's what I do. So in this painting, I may have had some blotchiness in her face. So the next painting is going to be about getting more uniformity in the skin tones. And we could definitely paint forever. You know what I mean? It pretty much is. So I have this kind of color, this color in here. And what I like to do is just to test and see, can I put that color in her flesh somewhere? It's almost like, when I'm painting in pastel. I have a pastel stick I may use on the chin and say, can I use it somewhere else to help create, interesting passages of color? Color that I wouldn't normally reach for in certain areas. And it's great when things come to the end of a painting, but it's also bittersweet because you did your best and it's never going to be exactly what you want. So you have to say, okay, here it is, world. This is my best right now. And, that's not easy. Just gonna hit her cheekbone a little bit. And so I do like some of the passages that we did take care of today. Now it's a little bit, tiny bit lighter right here. Just a tiny bit lighter. So I've been using a lot of the illustration, and I'm not much of an eraser kind of guy. But I'm just going to try to erase this because we see just a little bit of her retroabicularis oculi fat pad right here. So I can lighten this up a little bit there so we see a little bit of it. And I may get a little more aggressive. Let's see what this does. This is not bad. Sometimes you go to make these little changes and you make so much work for yourself. But I like it. I think it's showing off a little bit of that fat compartment. That's right above the eyelid, upper eyelid, and below the lower eyelid, but on the outside, not in the center. So just going to lightly erase that. Those little tiny things that, you seemingly can't live without. Yes, we have so many colors that make a good eraser. So true, and the orange and the white and orange mixture is such a wonderful tool. So I really love that. And so I'm liking her lips, so I'm going to stay away from that. Maybe, let's see. Let's pop out the highlights of her eyes. I want to do that. So we're going to come here. And I like the fact that we're using a little bit of flesh color in there. Oh yeah, that's nice. There we go. And let's see what's going on with her ear. Can we do anything with her ear that isn't going to kind of get in the way? That's what we don't want. So I'm thinking we can take some of the burnt umber and a little bit of the burnt umber and raw umber mixture here. And maybe we could accentuate this here. Right here. Nope, that picked up white. There we go. She has a cute ear, so I want to paint her cute ear. Okay, so I'm going to rinse this out a little bit. And I want to, no, I think we're going to keep the ear as it is. I think it's nice and de-emphasized, so that's good. And so this is the, oh, so maybe we can do some wispy hairs. So there's a special brush. It's called a liner brush, and I use it when I'm doing my airbrush and India ink paintings. So I got this cheap set from Hobby Lobby. I think it was $5.99. Yes, it was. And I believe it does have a bit of a liner brush. Let's try this one. Okay, so little eyelash action, right? That's what we're doing. So 4011. And we'll zoom in, see if we could make the eyelashes better or leave them alone. We'll see. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And let's go over to this eye. Well, we have a little bit of it going down like this. Maybe just an indication of a lower eyelid here. And Let's take a look and see how that looks. Okay, I think I don't like the last two eyelashes I put, so they gotta go. Yeah, it gets to the point where anything I'm going to do is going to marginally make it better or just ruin it. So this is when you just say, you know what, I'm just going to cut my losses, do call it done, call her complete. But what I can do is I can work on some of her little stray hairs and then we'll call her done. So okay, so we're going to use the color that's in this, that we use for this airbrush. Remember this color right here. So we'll see what kind of hairs we can get. So I'm glad I revisited this because I felt that some things were kind of bothering me, so this really helped to kind of resolve some of those issues. But like I said, there's always something you wish you did differently, and you can't do it on the painting that you're working on because, you know, it is like paintings are documents. That's what Edward Hopper said. No, David Hockney. He said paintings are documents of where you are in your life, artistically, personally, right? They really are. So you got to say, this is where I am. I'm not going to paint like I'm going to paint next month. I'm going to paint like I can paint right now and be proud that I did the best job I possibly could, right? And that's what you want to do. When it's done, it's done. So true, Willie, you know? And I'm just going to clean up some of this hair under here, you know. You don't want to leave it too rough. Then it's just, that's just neglect. So I don't want to be neglectful. But I can do some of these kind of nice wispy hairs here. I can put some substance to this right here. Make sure. Oh, one thing I have to do is a little blue on her, a little flesh color here on the figure in the background. You can hardly see them. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to do a little flesh color right here of that one figure. So my teacher, Harvey Dinnerstein, he loved painting in the subways. And so my latest Subway series is really like an homage to him. But once I get away from this painting, then I'll start feeling good about it. Right now, it's just like I'm totally immersed in this, so I'm not going to see the forest. I'm not going to see the forest from the trees. So I'm just going to work on the little things that people may tear you apart for. So when you leave, remember you can only defend your painting at the easel. So once I sign this and frame it, put it on the web, then people can say what they say and I don't have any way to defend it. Okay. Just a couple of more stray hairs. And what the little hairs do, it kind of assimilates her into the environment. Just like drinking, you got to know when to say when. That is so true. So true, Mike. So very true. Okay, so we're going to rinse this out and we're going to put a little flesh color. Now, do I have the flesh color in here? Nope, I have that raw umber color here. No, sepia. Just bring that down just a little bit. And this one goes up just a tad. Just give her a little bit of expression. And okay, so now in this airbrush, what do we have in here? Oh, we have that kind of greenish color. So I'm just going to dump this. And then what I'm going to do is clean this out, and I want to put a little bit of flesh color there. So, and that will be the finish of this painting. Oh, I am going to use a bit of Fons and Porter action here, and I don't think that's going to harm anything. See, I was doing pastel with it, and I stopped doing pastel, and the reason is that, I'm going to go ahead and do Gavar Varnish over this, and the pastel most likely would not react well, so that's why I got rid of the pastel and decided to do it differently. See how you see all the glare from the different kind of paints that are on there, but no worries. Okay, so a little bit of flesh tone. So we have this, right? The light olive, right? So we'll take the light olive. And it's good that you all are still here and seeing this because, how do you know when a painting's done? So this is just another artist's way of doing it. And it could be something that you can draw upon later, on your own work, when to say when, it's like, okay, I can't fix everything. I can only fix a few things. I'm going to put a little tiny bit in there because I know it's funny when you use the airbrush just for the smallest of passages here. And when people say stuff about my painting, I don't pay attention. So until yes, I don't see there's a heart in front of the comment. So it says, when people say stuff about your painting, I don't pay attention. Yes, that's true. Don't pay attention. If they you know, if they're criticizing your painting, most likely they should be painting themselves. They should also be painting, but they're frustrated because you shine a light on them for not working hard. And so now I have this here, and I'm going to test it, of course. You always test your color. Make sure what you're putting down. Okay, it's good. So I'm going to go to my reference here. One day I'm going to have a huge table, but not today. Right here, just a little bit of flesh. A little tiny bit on her face of the person back there. Wow, Michael, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. It means so much that you hang out and give great comments and kind of booster this this little community of like-minded artists, and your support means so much to me, my friend. Thank you, and I'm always encouraged by that. So just the tiniest little bit, but you know, our mind's going to make up the difference. But now we can see that there's a person back there, and now I'm going to dump this. We'll dump it back into the cup, right? And we're going to put just a hint of blue. Now, why don't I just paint it with the paintbrush? Because you'll never get the soft edges. You'll never get the soft edges of the bouquet of the out of focus depth of field that you would in airbrush and anything else. And Willie says, I never show anyone what I paint, but I complain enough to myself. That's it. You know, we are so hard on ourselves, Willie, right? We really are. And that's so important, you know, to have that. But just realize that where you are is where you are, right? And I have to accept where I am. I'm not where I want to be. I'm never going to arrive where I want to be. And the same with you guys and girls. You're never going to be where you want to be. So do your best where you are. And then, you know what? Where you are, like the end. I'm looking to see if there's anything I can fix, you know, anything that bothers me. And so, and that's when I'm sort of like, you know what? This is where I am now. And so next painting's going to be better. The next painting's going to be better. I'm going to learn from every painting. And the trick is to paint as much as you can. It's the quicker we learn, right? So that's important. So I'm going to put a little bit of this Laguna Blue because I love Laguna Blue. Just a tiny bit of it, sir. Shake that up. Wicked Laguna Blue, which is, I mean, I use it a lot. I've already used 2/3 of this blue. It's a nice neutral blue, and I'm going to put a little bit in there. And I'm going to put, I never go ahead and do this. You know I never mix in the cup. So this is a rarity. And I almost feel bad mixing in the pink cup. I don't like doing that. But it's such a small little passage, and it's just going to make it a little bit blue. Let's test this out. You got to get rid of the remnants of the flesh color. Just the tiniest little bit of blue. And it's nice because it's a nice little accent mark. And what was in this airbrush again? Oh, this was our sepia, which is good because we can put the final touches here. let's see. Maybe this was the illustration colors. So maybe I could erase this a little bit. That hand was a little too strong, right? So just kind of give a little indication of flesh color back there. There we go. Maybe some little more sepia. Yeah, see, this is where I'm splitting hairs, which I shouldn't be. But at least you all got to see the completion of a painting. And there we are. See, there's just a little guy back there, a girl, who knows what they're doing. But she's Persephone. She can be in the subways at 4 o'clock in the morning in the worst station. She can kill somebody just by looking at them. She's a goddess, a Greek goddess. So that is why she can basically not worry. So kind of a play on the whole Persephone myth. You know, she has to spend 6 months underground. So my thing was, what if the underground was the subway? So that's kind of cool. And so Michael says, yes, Willie, I'm harder on myself than they could be with my hand. Could do with my hand, definitely. And that's where we are. Okay, Fonz and Porter. I finally got the refills for my Fonz and Porter. This is very little. It's not going to affect the varnish process. But I'm just going to see, is there anywhere where I can just very little. So this is her, for better or for worse. She is done, guys. Michael says, looks great, Tim. You always do a great job with portraits. Thank you, my friend. That means the world to me. I finished a little early, but that's good. And yeah, anything else, you know, like I said, I'm going to varnish it. So you don't want to go crazy with something like this. But here it is. I mean, it could always be better, right? But this is where I am. So just want to say, let's do a little highlights right there. There we go. A little bit on her lip, which, okay. So anything I do now is going to, thank you so much, Willie says, great job. So guys and girls, whoever's out there, whoever's going to be there in the future, you know, watching this on record, just thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to post this on Facebook. And let's see, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Willie's always great to see you. Always great to see you, Tom, John Payne, Michael McClung. Thank you so much for the super chat, sir. Thank you, Mike Russian, for the super chat. You guys are above and beyond amazing. I wish you all a happy new year. Yes, talk to you next year. And I think I may do something on Tuesday. So we'll see. I'm upping. I want to do 3 live streams a week. But remember, the Wednesday night is always my anchor live stream. That's never going to change. So I want to do 2 more live streams. The more I'm inspired, the more I want to inspire you all. So take care. Have a great New Year's Eve, a great New Year's Day. And Oz, I'm praying for you. And I'm so glad, Mark, you're doing better. And I'm so glad you're doing great after 10 years ago from the open heart. So take care, everybody. Always a sincere pleasure and honor to hang out with you all.